So welcome to my site, everybody. My name is Paul Smyers. I'm a real estate agent in the beautiful state of Virginia, Shenandoah Valley. I specialize in rural property, and I make a lot of videos about the lifestyle and all the various lovely aspects of living in the countryside. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the unseen and unrecognized potential of natural and wild plants that may be growing on a rural property that you go look at. Many of the young people in their 30s, 40s, 20s, they don't realize that human beings live for thousands of years without any kind of grocery stores, you see. And if you stop and think about that, like, how did they do that? How did they live on they never had to go to a store, you see. So what happened is we forgot about a lot of these medicinal plants that were literally known for thousands of years. And many of them grow around wild, and I was surprised when I got this property because I've learned a little bit about plants. When I was younger, I learned quite a bit about local plants, but I don't really keep track of it. But there are specialists like this guy here. I got his book, Sam Thayer's excellent Guide to Edible Wild Plants, and I didn't realize just how many plants around right where I live are edible or medicinal in many ways. So I encourage you to investigate that. If you're thinking of doing a homesteading operation, and a lot of people when they go, they're brand new, they have some kind of an imagination of how they're going to go back to pioneer days or something, or they want a homestead, and many of them are very well prepared and so on, and they have many skills. But there's a lot of aspects about living in a country that you may not consider, like the outbuildings and some of the things like that. And that you can buy a piece of land that is right next to a national forest, and for all practical purposes, you know nobody's ever going to build there, so you don't need to own it or anything, but it's there and it protects you. So there are many aspects about that. So I encourage viewers to go out and look around the property that they're interested in buying, or if they are already on a property that they love, and they might realize that, man, there's 20 different kinds of plants here. So I don't know enough about them to be telling you of all the species and so on. I've noticed when I walked around my own property, I realized, well, first of all, we got blackberries, and then we got acorns, and we have hickory nuts, and we have some walnuts, and there's a lot of other plants that are growing on the ground, like dandelions and stuff. So it's odd that in our country, there was a whole effort to try to just get rid of all the dandelions, see? But then you start to think about, like, wait a minute here, those dandelions were medicine. I mean, what are they doing, you know? So think about it. My lawn here, I got almost 3 acres of yard to cut, minus a few buildings. And I look around and say, there's no way that I'm going to have it all one species of grass, and get rid of every other broadleaf plant and everything, and so let's forget about it, see? So when you move out to the countryside, forget about having a groomed lawn. I mean, maybe if you got a lot of time on your hands or some help or whatever, you can do that, but forget about trying to get rid of every single dandelion. What I encourage people to do is when they buy a homesteading type of property out in the rural areas, where it's not groomed by the HOA and all that, start looking around the ground and see what you see there, because that'll tell you a lot about the kind of soil that's there as well. I mean, there are so many plants, I can't even get into it, but there's a long list of plants that grow naturally wild that were used a long, long time for health and various kinds of medicinal aspects and so on, even for food. And some of the plants that you can grow or you see on your property, they were used for medicine and food, you see. So plus there's mushrooms, and I don't know a lot about that, but there are people who are experts at that. There's all kinds of books about it you can get now, and experts to tell you what mushrooms are edible and so on. But once again, to make these videos real short, I try to point out the various extra kind of things that you can get in a rural property that you're just not going to get in a cul-de-sac home or owners association type of property. Because when they see a broadleaf plant like a dandelion, uh-oh, here comes the guy with a whole sprayer, it's going to kill him off. And so it's a little different life on the homestead. In the countryside, it's just more, you know, laissez-faire kind of thing. Well, okay, you know, we're kind of guests here in the land, and all the other animals and plants are here long before us, so we got to kind of, you know, get along with them. So I make a little jokes about this lifestyle sometimes, but I really encourage you to look into some of these other books here This is Secrets of the Soil. That's an amazing book. You've got to get into that. That's amazing. And then the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine, the Field Guide to Edible Wild Plants, and Barbara O'Neill Natural Remedies. She's very famous now, and you can find that book. I don't read every page of them, but I like to have them around for resources and to help me understand what kind of plants are growing on my own property. And I found myself, I had some mint growing on my property, quite a bit of it, and a lot of blackberries. So it's kind of fun to look around, and you'll see pawpaws in the southeast like that. You might find some pawpaws. A lot of people don't even know what a pawpaw tree is, but it has actually a kind of delicious fruit that comes right around September. It's ready, and if you don't get it, the birds will get it, and that's it. Wait till next year. But thanks again for listening. I hope you see some of the other content and the other links I have to other people's content. I really appreciate if you do like the content, just share it and give us a little comment. Thanks again.